bushcrafters, welcome back to West Texas Bushcraft for part 2 of our knife video series. Today I wanted to show you the different knives that I have that I change out on a regular basis depending on what environment I'm going into or what I plan on doing while I'm out there. So most of this is for camping purposes, but I select my knives accordingly just in case I get lost out there or I get stuck for whatever reason. So the knives I have over here make good examples of different things to look for while you're out there shopping for your own personal tools or weapons or anything like that. So stick around and let's take a look. Okay, so here's some of my favorite knives here. You'll see these, as I pull them out, you'll see they're brand new. Well, they look brand new. A lot of these I've had for quite a while now. So it's very important that you take good care of your knives. We'll save this one for last. This one, I want to show you something special about it. But this one here is the K-bar that I was talking about in the first video. This one is the same one like the Marines have carried since, what, the Vietnam era, maybe even before that. It's the handle is what I was wanting to show you here. This is where it's layered pieces of leather. And basically you have a good thick blade, and that tang is more or less nothing more than just a stud that just courses the whole length of the handle here. And this is, looks like it is actually put on with some sort of rivet. It's fastened with a rivet. So that's a pretty good thick piece of metal in there. This is more or less for fighting. They call it their survival knife, but this is kind of a backup for our soldiers in case they wind up without their firearm or something like that and they wind up having to do hand-to-hand combat. But it's a good survival tool. These are a little bit pricier than I like to spend. These usually run about 75 bucks or something in that area. This is also a good carbon steel as well, so if you make char cloth, you can get a piece of flint and just strike that on that flint and it'll make a spark and get that char cloth lit up. The downside to carbon steel is that you have to keep it oiled. If you don't keep some sort of oil on it, like a gun oil or some sort of tallow or any kind of oil, that blade will rust on you, and that can pit your blade, it could dull your blade. It's just really bad health for a knife to be all rusty. So this one here is the Gerber Profile. This is a good stainless blade with a coating on it that's kind of a non-stick coating. Has a good, nice rubber handle, and it's a full tang knife. You can see that the tang is shaped for the whole handle. On the belly, on the spine, on the butt, you can see all the metal all the way around this thing. This is an outstanding knife. This knife costs anywhere from $30 to $40 depending on where you get it. This thing has been a beauty. I love this knife. I've taken this out more times than I can ever count. Processed wood with it. You name it, it's been done with this knife. This is a great knife, and it's also good budget. The downside to Gerber knives is their sheaths are really, really bad quality. It's the cheapest stuff ever. I made this sheath for it because leather is going to hold up so much better, and the whole fact that the belt loop on the back side of that nylon one just flat came apart and it's just junk. So if you go Gerber, you'll probably wind up replacing the sheath with some sort of leather. It's not a bad thing, but then again, if you like that tactical look, then nylon's your way to go. This is the Gerber Basic. This is one of my favorite little knives here. It's got this big, long, good, sturdy clip on the back side of it. You can actually take this and hang it on a lanyard as a neck knife, or you can slip it in your pocket, inside your pocket, or on your belt, however you want to carry this thing. And it's a good, thick, metal, full tang knife. It is the same thickness as the Profile. It actually looks like it may be just a bit thicker, but it's a good full tang knife too. This has a serrated edge on it. You can see I got wood chips in there because I did just use it today to actually cut some branches here in the backyard. But this is a fantastic little knife. This is usually my backup. I carry a folder on a daily basis for, you know, when I'm at work or whatever. But when I'm out in the bush, I'll have a good heavy duty knife, and then this is usually going to wind up being my backup. It's a beautiful little knife. It works great. Again, you can see I like the Gerber products. They're very inexpensive. They are great if you're on a budget, and the quality is there with Gerber. I will have to say that. I do like some Gerber stuff. Here is a buck skinning knife. This is the little ultralight skeletonized skinning knife. There's you a good idea of what a skinning blade looks like. This thing is super razor sharp. You can freaking shave with this thing. And since, if you can probably see straight through that paracord wrap that I did on that. But I wrapped this one in paracord so that way I can have a little bit of extra cordage on me. This is also a carbon steel blade too, so this must be oiled. The two Gerbers I showed you, those are stainless, so there's very little maintenance involved in that. But this is pretty good. It's a nice thick blade, thick tang. It's all one piece. My only concern about this is if you use it for anything heavy duty, that is a pretty large hole right there and not a lot of metal on top or bottom, so that right there would be a good weak spot for it. But if you're just using this to scan something, that's your knife of choice. 20 bucks. That's all it costs. This one here was 30 to 40. So you can see here, you can get some really good stuff for next to nothing. Of course, Buck went from the leather to the nylon, and it came apart, so I wound up making my own sheath for this one as well. This one here is probably one of the most popular ones around. This is a Mora, M-O-R-A. If you've watched Dual Survival, and if you've even seen Les Stroud's Survivor Man, they've carried these at some point. Even I think Dave Canterbury even sells a Mora knife on his website. These knives are just dirt cheap, or I should say very inexpensive. This is about an $18 knife. I didn't actually buy this one. A buddy of mine found this in the highway and gave it to me, and it was all rusted and pitted and everything. This is also a carbon steel blade. These, I believe, have a 3/4 tang up inside the handle, and you can see that is what you call an encapsulated tang. The handle is basically injection mold plastic around it, so you don't really know what's up inside there. But these little knives, they have really withstood the test of time. They're not real thick, but they're pretty strong. It's a good hard metal. They make a great spark. This one needs to be clean. I haven't taken care of this one as much because it was in bad shape when I got it, but it's been a great little knife, and I like to leave this one dirty because it just shows you how tough it is. And this one I have a lanyard on the sheath, and I usually carry this as a neck knife. This hardly weighs anything. Good hard plastic sheath. I even got a piece of bicycle tubing on here where I can tuck up a fire steel or something like that inside there. And I've also used this as my primary knife as well. Moving on to folders, here's a good Buck. I believe I'd mentioned something about this Buck knife in the last video, but that is the Buck 110. They've been making this thing for eons. I think this was actually first made by Buck in 1964. This one, you could probably use a knife like this in lieu of any fixed blade knife. Some people are just flat scared of fixed blade knives, and that's fine. If you prefer a folder even, this was the one I would probably recommend to go with. It's good heavy duty brass. This thing, there's no play in this blade. It's riveted on nice and tight. I mean, since they've been making these things for years and years and years, you know these are really darn good knives. So I highly recommend this, and yes, I would stake my life on this knife. If I was in a survival situation, I'd be glad I had this knife on me. Another Gerber. I believe this was called the Remix. This was about a $30 folding knife. This one is nice and nice thick blade on it. There's no play in this one. You can see there's quite a bit of wear on it. I use this every day. I carry this on me all the time. I bought this one because I like the idea of the big finger loop through here. I figured, man, I could really get out there in the bush. I could, you know, rip stuff with it real good. It'd be a great grip. I would never have to worry about slipping off of that thing. The only problem is the way it positions that blade in my hand. It really kind of makes it hard to do any kind of detail work with this knife. But it's got a great feel, and with this, it's a much larger pivot point, so you're probably not going to get that blade having a whole lot of play over time. So that's probably a decent recommended one right there. It has a nice little belt hook, so you can either clip it on your belt, you can slip it inside your pocket and just clip it onto the edge, so you got it right there easily accessible. So good old Gerber. Now all of these knives here, I would definitely say are great ones to have. I recommend them. All the companies involved in these, they are still making these specific knives. I've had these for a long time, and if they're still making them, you can pretty much bet that that's going to be a good choice to make. They're fairly inexpensive with the exception of that one, but even then, that is still inexpensive in some people's eyes. I've seen people pay as much as, you know, $200, $300, $400 for a knife, and thinking that you get what you pay for, but really when it gets right down to it, these have been just as good as any really high dollar knife, and I do have a few of those. I just don't prefer to use them because I don't want to tear them up because of how expensive they were. Now, if you want to spend a little bit of money and you don't really like what you see out there, you can always go with a good custom option. There's usually somebody around that makes custom knives, and this one here is a good railroad spike knife made from Hawks Custom Knives here in San Angelo, Texas. And this is just about as heavy duty as you can get. Just look at that thing. That bad boy is not gonna break. This has been completely made by hand. This guy blacksmiths this stuff in his own shop. You know, twist this, he re-hardens it, quenches it. These are awesome little knives. So when you go custom, you can get pretty much whatever you want. You can try some of these cheaper knives out, and you'll know what you like about them and what you don't like about them. So if you go get a good custom knife, you can have one made specific to your taste. As you can see, this one I like the way it's made because that blade drops down further than my finger, so I have a finger guard incorporated straight into the blade there. It has a nice curve on it, so this is a good all-purpose kind of knife. This is good for skinning, this is good for boning, this is good for processing wood. It is just as hard as nails, and it's a good carbon steel. And so of course I have to keep it maintained with a little bit of oil. But if you have a good leather sheath and you oil these regularly and slide them back in the sheath, eventually that sheath will soak up enough oil that that's all you have to do is just resheath your knife, and it gets oiled every time. And then you can just oil it on occasion from there. But this knife is a beauty. So if you go custom, make sure you try some of these other ones out first to see exactly what you like about them and what you don't like about them. Then you can have somebody design your own personal knife, or at least give them some kind of pointer and they can make a modification to what you're buying for them. So there you have it. Those are the knives that I have that I normally change out like I change my clothes or whatever. It all just is simply going to depend on what environment I plan on going into or what I plan on doing while I'm out there. Each one of them serves a great purpose. If I'm just going hiking for a day, I'm just going to grab something small. If I plan on staying out for a few nights, of course I'm going to get something a little bit more heavy duty. I may have to process wood. But then again, if I'm out hiking and I hurt myself or something and I wind up stuck in one of those situations where I don't know how long it's going to be before I get out there, my small knife's going to have to work out for me. So that being said, make sure you carry a backup knife on you, because if you do break it or you wind up stuck out there or something, you may need it. So it's always good to be prepared. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative for you. So go out and get dirty and play with some knives.